I think she's probably been put in there because, according to Donald Trump, she's a 10. You know that's what it is.
I want to be clear, though. It's not her first job. It was her first press briefing. She worked in the previous Trump administration.
Joy Behar exposes the truth about how Karoline Leavitt got her job. A heated debate has erupted, not just over one comment, but over the broader landscape of modern politics, media, and feminism. Joy Behar on The View made headlines by commenting on Karoline Leavitt's appointment as the youngest White House press secretary, sparking a clash between woke and conservative ideologies. Did Behar overstep her boundaries, or was she simply articulating the obvious? Let's unpack this. The context.
Good afternoon, everybody. How are we? Good to see all of you. It's an honor to be here with all of you. A lot of familiar faces in the room, a lot of new faces. And President Trump is back, and the golden age of America has most definitely begun. The Senate has already confirmed 5 of President Trump's exceptional cabinet nominees: Secretary of State Marco Rubio, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, CIA Director John Ratcliffe, Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem, and Treasury Secretary Scott.
So what got us here? Karoline Leavitt, at just 27 years old, was named White House press secretary under President Donald Trump's administration. Her appointment was a significant talking point, not just because of her age, but also due to the changes she announced, like opening the press room to new media voices beyond traditional journalism.
With this revolutionary media approach that President Trump deployed during the campaign, the Trump White House will speak to all media outlets and personalities, not just the legacy media who are seated in this room. Because according to recent polling from Gallup, Americans' trust in mass media has fallen to a record low.
This is the point at which the situation became highly charged. During her first press briefing, Leavitt made headlines by criticizing mainstream media's trust with the public and advocating for a broader range of voices in the press room.
Especially young people have turned from traditional television outlets and newspapers to consume their news from podcasts, blogs, social media, and other independent outlets. It's essential to our team that we share President Trump's message everywhere and adapt this White House to the new media landscape in 2025. To do this, I'm excited to announce the following changes will be made to this historic James S. Brady briefing room, where Mr. Brady's legacy will endure. This White House believes strongly in the First Amendment, so it's why our team will work diligently to restore the press passes of the 440 journalists whose passes were wrongly revoked by the previous administration.
Some viewed this move as a refreshing change, while others perceived it as a sign of challenging times for traditional journalism. The appointment and the culture war.
So that's why he chose Karoline Leavitt, according to the tolerant left, because of her looks. And I posted this out online. It's an attempt to diminish her. Right. She's nothing more than a pretty face. She can't be taken seriously. But I think you made this point on my show, like, let's face it, we really are making America hot again. Like this. Right.
I said we're about to have the hottest cabinet.
And let's face it, Republicans in general these days, like that New York Magazine cover, I don't know. I just feel like Republicans are all about these days making an effort, pulling yourself together, presenting yourself well. There is an unusual percentage of good-looking people who support Donald Trump. I don't know what it is. And then on the left, you have these lunatics shaving their heads, wearing their blue bracelets, having their enormous reading glasses everywhere. Like, it's
the Trump administration's appointment of Karoline Leavitt was more than just a job shift. It served as a catalyst in the ongoing cultural conflict between woke culture and conservative values. At 27, Leavitt became the face of a new administration pushing back against what they call the woke virus, a term used to describe progressive social justice movements perceived as overreaching. Her role includes advocating for alternative media in the White House press room, which conservatives see as a move to democratize information, while progressives view it as undermining traditional journalism. Joy Behar's comments on The View.
I think she's probably been put in there because, according to Donald Trump, she's a 10.
Now let's jump to the hot seat. The View. Joy Behar, known for her no-holds-barred commentary, didn't hold back during a recent episode. Her comments were like adding gasoline to this fire. She suggested that Leavitt's appointment was less about her qualifications and more about her appearance. Behar's exact words were, "She's probably been put in there because, according to Donald Trump, she's a 10. You know that's what it is." This sparked outrage, not just for the personal attack, but for seemingly reducing a woman's professional achievements to her looks. This statement has caused quite the uproar. Is Behar critiquing Trump's alleged superficiality in hiring, or was this an unfair jab at Leavitt's actual competence and achievements? But was Behar critiquing a systemic issue in politics, or was this an unfair slight against Leavitt? Do you think Behar's comments were out of line, or was she highlighting a broader issue in political appointments? Reactions from The View panel.
She's probably been put in there because, according to Donald Trump, she's a 10. You know that's what it is.
I want to be clear, though. It's not her first job. It was her first press briefing. She worked in the previous Trump administration.
Whatever I'm saying, this is the first time that she's been she may be. But my point is that job would not maybe have been open to her.
No, I understand. I just wanted to clarify that.
Yeah.
Behar wasn't alone in her commentary. Co-host Whoopi Goldberg also chimed in, criticizing Leavitt's remarks about wokeness and suggesting that the very notion of wokeness was what allowed Leavitt to hold her position. Alyssa Farah Griffin, however, was quick to defend Leavitt, highlighting her professional background and experience within the Trump administration. The diversity of opinion on the panel itself shows how divisive the topic can be. It's not just about one comment, but reflects a broader conversation about merit, appearance, and gender in politics. How did these conflicting views from the same panel reflect the complexity of this issue? The Views panel, a feminist paradox? The View is known for its feminist leanings, with hosts often discussing women's rights and equality. However, the panel's reaction to Leavitt's appointment has led to some questioning their brand of feminism. Behar, alongside Whoopi Goldberg, criticized Leavitt's policies and persona, while Alyssa Farah Griffin defended her. This split highlights a potential paradox. Are these feminists truly advocating for women's opportunities, or does their critique of Leavitt suggest otherwise? The discussion on the show brought up points about merit versus appearance, but also about the role of women in supporting or undermining each other in professional spaces. Does feminism mean supporting all women in power or critiquing those whose politics you disagree with? The Right's response.
Now to the cackling witch herself, Joy Behar from The View, whose jealousy is something to behold.
I think she's probably been put in there because, according to Donald Trump, she's a 10. You know that's what it is.
I want to be
Here is Joy objectifying the White House press secretary, saying she only has the job because
you knew this was coming. Right-wing commentators did not overlook this. Social media posts and articles from conservative outlets called out Behar for what they perceived as a sexist and dismissive comment. They defended Leavitt's credentials, from her campaign work to her role in the previous Trump administration, arguing that her appointment was merit-based. Figures like Charlie Kirk and Megyn Kelly used platforms like X to lambast Behar. Charlie Kirk tweeted, after the masterclass she put on yesterday, running circles around the legacy media, this is an idiotic and bitter thing to say. Some even suggested her comments were born out of jealousy or bitterness towards young, successful women in politics.
This also happened on The View today, where Joy Behar referred to the new press secretary, Karoline Leavitt, who did an amazing job this week. She's green and she's young, but she's very strong, and she's going to get even better.
Is this defense of Leavitt justified, or does it miss the point of broader cultural critiques? Karoline Leavitt's possible response. While Karoline Leavitt herself has not directly responded to Behar's comments in the public domain as of our latest update, we can speculate on how she might address it. Given her track record of handling the press, she would likely focus on her qualifications, her commitment to her role, and perhaps critique the media's tendency to focus on appearance rather than substance. Her approach could be to redirect the conversation back to policy, her accomplishments, and the broader changes she's advocating for in media access. If you were in Leavitt's shoes, how would you respond to such a personal attack on your professional merit? How should women in politics respond to personal attacks while maintaining professional integrity? The broader implications.
Consequences. Okay, Donnie,
This isn't just about one comment or one person. It's a microcosm of larger debates about sexism, ageism, and the role of appearance in politics. It raises questions about how we perceive political appointments, whether we as a society still judge women in politics by different standards than men. Moreover, this saga underscores how personal attributes become political tools, whether it's appearance, age, or political alignment. Every aspect of a public figure's life is scrutinized. For women in politics, this scrutiny often amplifies, leading to questions about whether true equality has been achieved or if there's still a long way to go. The debate over Leavitt's appointment isn't just about one person, but about how society values women in leadership roles. Are we judging women in politics by different standards than men? And if so, how do we change this? Finally, the tension between traditional media and new media voices, as highlighted by Leavitt's policies, is a significant subplot in this saga. Are we witnessing a shift in how political news is disseminated and consumed? How does this incident reflect on the ongoing battle between old and new media? Public and viewer reaction. The public's reaction has been as varied as you might expect. Some viewers of The View applauded Behar for calling out what they see as superficiality in political appointments, while others felt her comments were a step back for feminism, reducing a woman's political role to her looks. On social media, the hashtag #JoyBeharSexist trended, with debates raging on about the ethics of political commentary, the role of satire, and the line between critique and insult. Where do you stand in this debate? Is there a middle ground where critique and respect for personal merit can coexist? The role of media in shaping feminist and political narratives.
So there's this clip going viral online of a dozen women being asked the following question: do we need men? Most answered very quickly, no. And only one said she thought women needed a man in their lives, only one. But when men were asked a similar question, do we need women, most of them said yes. So why do you think that is?
Because men are useless. I mean, and by the way, I want to differentiate between straight men and gay men, because I think I would die without gay men.
Media, especially shows like The View, play a critical role in shaping public opinion on feminism and politics. The incident with Behar and Leavitt showcases the power and pitfalls of this influence. There's a need for media to reflect on how they portray women in politics. Are they amplifying voices or inadvertently reinforcing stereotypes? The balance between critique and support, especially within feminist discourse, needs reevaluation. Should media outlets like The View reconsider how they approach discussions on women in politics to truly support feminist ideals?
A lot of women are preparing themselves for the impact of the incoming administration, which has led to this growing mantra from male right-wing incels: your body, my choice. Say that to my face. But when the New York Times asked if this election was a big setback for women in America, not all women agreed, because we're not a monolith. Yeah. But check it out. What do you think of that?
Oh, I mean, it's the
I thought so too, yeah. But there's not.
It's the creepiest, most offensive slogan I could possibly think of. I hope this stays in dark corners of the internet and doesn't permeate our broader discourse. I mean, listen, there's an undertone of misogyny that...
What does this mean for political discourse moving forward? If the new conservative government is indeed against what they term the woke virus, incidents like this might become more frequent, serving as battlegrounds for ideological supremacy.
Loser. Everything woke. Everything woke. It's true. Everything woke turns to shit, okay? It's true.
Meanwhile, the left feeling its values under attack, might continue to use every platform, including shows like The View, to push back. The question remains whether such public spats help or hinder the cause of women in politics. Does it bring attention to the need for more substantive discourse about women's roles, or does it degrade into personal attacks that detract from the real issues? How can political discourse evolve to focus more on policy than personality? The aftermath and moving forward. What happens next? Will this blow over, or could it lead to a broader discussion on sexism in political discourse? There's also the question of whether this incident will affect Behar's standing on the show, or how it might influence Leavitt's tenure as press secretary. Perhaps it might even prompt The View to revisit how they discuss political figures, focusing more on policy rather than personality. Or it could simply be another day in the life of political media, where controversy fuels the conversation. Should shows like The View change how they discuss political figures to avoid such controversies? It's obvious that a single comment can ignite debates about sexism, media, and politics. The intersection of appearance, age, and merit in political roles is still a contentious issue, and how we discuss these topics can either enlighten or enrage, depending on the perspective. What's your take on this? Let's keep the discussion going in the comments below. And hey, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more stories like this. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.